Hello everyone and welcome back to RetroB8 and welcome back to part 2 of my Amiga physical big box game collection. So I've got sat here a nice pile of 11 games and I have realised that this is actually going to be a 3-part thing. Yeah, I've just got a few more Amiga games than what I thought, and I'm not going to lie, I have been picking up a few recently that are pretty special to me, and that I have a lot of nostalgia for, because I only collect Amiga games that I do have nostalgia for, because if not it will be just an extremely long and expensive process. Imagine trying to collect every Amiga game. I don't even know if that's ever been tried before. Maybe someone like Cine Steve or someone like that might have tried it, but unfortunately for me, not on my wage, it won't be. But anyway, that's besides the point. What I want to show you today is 11 more of my favourite Commodore Amiga games that I used to play back as a kid. However, back in the day, like probably 90% of the people out there, all my games were copies. I did have 1 or 2 originals, but not many. Most of the time, I spent copying them with my friends. X-Copy Pro, or was it X-Copy 6? We used to sit there for hours copying games, and we used to go to a computer club, which was basically just a mass piracy session from back in the day. But yeah, nowadays I've got a little bit more disposable income. The games probably cost more than what they used to back then. But yeah, I'm still gonna keep on trying to collect the games that I used to play. So I'm going to start off with the first one, obviously, and this is a game that I always really enjoyed, like Prince of Persia and games like that when I was a kid. And when I saw this game here, Flashback, and this is Delphine Software. I think it's the most successful French game that there's ever been. But when I saw the intro to this game, and when I played it, it just absolutely blew me away. It's still a favourite of mine today, and on the PlayStation 4, which is like my most like newest console, well maybe the Switch as well, but on the PS4 I've got very few retro themed or retro style games. I'm really into VR normally when it comes to that system, apart from Flashback. I've got Flashback, the 25-year anniversary, because it is just class. Great memories of playing this, and in my version, my copied version when I was a kid, was unfortunately in French, which didn't make it any easier to play at all. I did learn a bit of French, although cube, but that was about as much. As what was any use. The box, as you can see, it does have signs of wear and tear, but this style box is just so difficult to get hold of these days in good condition for a decent price. I did a bit of Tootie magic on this. It was quite a while ago now, though, where I took it apart, ironed it and re-glued it back together. But yeah, I think it's had a tough life, this one. So this one will go over there. I don't want to put any games on top of that one, because it'll probably just crush. But yeah, did you play Flashback? How much time did you spend on that game? And yeah, like Another World, Flashback, just that style of game I've always really enjoyed. One game that I never did have back in the day was Benefactor, and that kind of reminds me of like Flashback, a cross between that and Lemmings maybe, but from like a further out view. That is a game I'd love to pick up, but I'm trying to stick to nostalgic games. I only discovered that one a few weeks ago when I was making the essential top 10 Amiga games. Yeah, and that come as a puzzle game, which I wasn't massively into back then, so it kind of makes sense why I never played it. Anyway, I do diverse, because the next game I'm going to show you is a game that it's always reminded me of probably my favourite film of all time. The game I find absolutely solid. I've gotten absolutely nowhere near completing this one, but it's this one, guys. It is Alien Breed. As soon as you can see from the front cover, I think Team 17 knew what they were doing, how popular Aliens, and probably more towards the time Alien 3. But this game was an absolute stunner, and I think it was a blatant rip-off. It really was. But a very good game, but a very hard game, and one I've probably got a little bit further now, because I've got a little bit more patience. than back in my younger days. But yeah, it's still incredibly difficult, and I would genuinely love to complete this one day, but I don't see how I can do it without cheats. Has anyone ever completed this? I'd be really interested to know, because I find it remarkably difficult. The next game that I'm going to show you is it's probably the most time I've ever spent on any game ever, and as in the last video when I spoke about the sister game to this, yeah, it was probably directly responsible for me failing my GCSEs, and this was it. This was Championship Manager 93. I never had the original one, the red box. This was the one that I had, and this is one of the few original games that I did buy back then, because I just absolutely adored this game. And rather than waiting, you know, for the copied versions to kind of like get up towards the northeast, you know, and be a few weeks late, I wanted this one straight away. So yeah, I saved up all my Boots vouchers, and yeah, hey presto, we got Championship Manager 3, Championship Manager 93. I think Championship Manager 3 was quite a few years later, but also a very good game. I think that was it for the PC? I think we got Championship Manager 2 for the Amiga, but I can't remember Championship Manager 3 being on the Amiga, possibly. Next is, well, another game that I spent an absolute mass amount of time on. It's not a game that you can pick up and get straight into. You really have got to work at this game. And Microprose used to make fantastic strategy games, and of course Civilisation is definitely it's got to be in there or up there as one of the best for the Amiga. Where you start off from, where you can go to, taking over the world, and yeah, it's just, I mean, what more could you want from a game like this? Yeah, you started, I think, was it well, 4000 BC. So you started 4000 BC, and I'm pretty sure you make your way all the way to the space age. I've never gotten that far, but my friend once did. But he used to put a serious amount of time into this game, way more than me, because I was probably still playing on Championship Manager. However, I did spend a hell of a lot of time on this game. Is it one that I'll play today? Probably not, due to the time that you've got to invest. But it is nice to own a copy, which is fully complete with the manual, etc. Everything's in there, so very happy with that. But yeah, this was Civilisation from Microprose. Sid Meier's Civilisation. So I think he was also responsible for was it Pirates, which also another class game. Next we move on to, it's probably people's favourite football game of the 16-bit era, especially on the Amiga anyway. It did have a little bit of competition. There's two football games in this list, and well, the first one is Sensible World of Soccer. Where do you start? It's got the manager element, it's got the original Sensible Soccer, the gameplay. They added in obviously all the teams from like virtually all over the world. There was new tactics. You could become the international manager of your country, like of your nationality. And it was just a brilliant feeling to be able to take your team to like the World Cup and the Euros, and hopefully win those as well. Sensible World of Soccer really was groundbreaking in its time. And yeah, I don't know whether football games would be the same these days if it wasn't for this game. Although, you know, the viewpoint wise, it worked in the Amiga, but I think once you got to like the 32-bit era, more 3D, it was never going to go back to this. However, if it was a choice of playing like an early PlayStation 1, FIFA, or Sensible Soccer on the Amiga, I would still choose Sensible Soccer on the Amiga. I just think it's aged better. Those little guys just still look pretty cool to me. Whereas the old, almost vector, like polygon shaped people that are running around on PlayStation 1, not so much. Next is a game that I've got to admit I really enjoyed back in the day. However, playing it recently on the Amiga Mini, I don't really feel it's particularly aged well. I've still got nostalgia for it, so I still do love this game. And that is Zool, the ninja from the nth dimension. Of course, this was a Gremlin graphics game, and everyone remembers the Chupa Chups was all over this game. Or was that the sequel? Was it this one, or was it the sequel? I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments down below, but I'm pretty sure it was this one. On the back, I can't see any Chupa Chups there, so whether it was the sequel or not, yeah, someone let me know. But platformers on the Amiga, notoriously difficult. Back then, I used to prefer this to Super Frog. Nowadays, it's probably the other way around. I find the background's incredibly busy on this game, and the amount of collecting that you've got to do, it's so much that it kind of takes the fun out of the game for me a little bit. However, back then I used to absolutely adore it, and as I say, lots of nostalgia for this one, and it's not a game that should cost too much because it really did sell quite a few back in the day, so it is quite a common game. So you should be able to pick up a nice copy of this for a decent price if you still like a bit of Zool. But as I say, for me, it's kind of just aged a little bit worse than games of the same ilk I would find from back in the day. One game that I think's aged incredibly well is this game from Team 17, and I think this not one of Ocean's last releases, I think, on the PlayStation. However, Worms for the Amiga was bloody good. It really was. I didn't enjoy the 3D thing when they went down that route, but as a 2D game, this for me, it was kind of like, it always reminded me a little bit of Lemmings, but I really enjoyed the one-on-one like combat. As a 2-player game, a 3-player game, and I think possibly 4. I don't think it could get better. We used to have battles and battles and battles on this over the summer holidays, off school, and we used to play this for hours. Can be amazingly frustrating if you're in the wrong place at the right time, but sometimes when you get a little bit lucky, yeah, you used to really get into some fights with your friends over this game. But yeah, Worms, graphically beautiful. It was just such a good game, Really love this one from back in the day, and really happy to own this now. Again, I'm not quite sure how much that one will set you back these days. I've had that one in the collection for quite a while. But speaking about football games, this was the other football game that I really used to play quite a bit on the Amiga. Now this one might come as a bit of a surprise. It doesn't seem a very popular game. There was another football game that was a little bit similar to this, but I'll show you that in the next video. I don't want to flood too many football games at you. But this one is called Total Football. Now, Total Football for me is a blatant rip-off of FIFA. So FIFA Soccer must have been out. This was quite a late release for the Commodore Amiga. But as you can see there on the screenshots, it is very similar to FIFA Soccer. And the thing is, it played really close to FIFA Soccer. And back then, FIFA Soccer was a groundbreaking game. And I think Dormark really hit the spot with Total Football. I always love the box. You can see how it's like the shiny bits on the front, and I just think it's really well presented. Just have a quick look inside. Yeah, all here, manual and discs. You can tell that I've never played this one originally on the Amiga, but I just find it so difficult at the minute with having the Amiga Mini to even set up the Amiga at the minute. However, this is a game that would definitely tempt me to. This has got to be in the top 3, possibly even top 2 Amiga games of all time for me. And we have Monkey Island 2. I was really lucky to get hold of this from Dan Smith from Facebook a couple of weeks ago, and it is in lovely condition. It really is. I'm very grateful to him for me managing to get my hands on this. I would love to get the Monkey Island 1, the original. Unfortunately, at this time, I just can't afford it. They were going for like £50-60. So maybe, hopefully, if one shows up on Facebook, I might be able to snare it. I definitely will be in for it straight away. Again, an absolutely stunning point and click, in the same ilk as Beneath the Steel Sky, you know, games like that. But Monkey Island really led the way for me. Yeah, LucasArts or Lucasfilm Games really did. They just, a lot of people are going to enjoy Monkey Island 1 more than Monkey Island 2. I enjoyed Monkey Island 1, but for me, Monkey Island 2 just kind of just went that little bit next step. I think the graphics are better. The story, I don't know. It's up to the individual who enjoys which story. But yeah, I enjoy this one better. However, I'd still love a copy of the first one. But yeah, this is in great condition. And of course comes with the all-important wheel, because without this you ain't going to get far. Although I suppose there's probably something online these days that you can get past that with. Next is a racing game. I wasn't a huge fan of the racing game, just normally because I'm pretty bad at them. I've never been great at racing games, and I'm more of a racer who enjoys, like, I don't like ones where you've got to like fire at people or you get shot just before you're about to finish the finish line, just, you know. Yeah, so this game for me was right up my street. Now, I've always been into Formula 1, so Grand Prix for Microprose was an absolute must. This really is a simulation. There's so many different ways that you can set up this game that it doesn't need to be a simulation if you don't want it to be. The manual, I mean, this thing weighs a ton, and it's the manual. Like, it's yeah, you've got to put a lot of work into this game if you want to play it at the highest standard. But if I can just show you the back, guys, this is 1991. Now, yes, they're vector graphics in there, but as you can see up here, like those graphics and how fast they were moving. Back on my Amiga 1200, this was quite a smooth game. I never played it on the 500, but I think someone commented on a video before that I included this game on. It was quite jerky, but for me, this was just an absolute belter of a racing game. Obviously, Stunt Car Racer, that's another one that I'd absolutely love to own. But you're lucky if you can pick one up for under £50 these days. So it is a little bit out of my price range at the moment. But one day I will get it. But for the time being, I'm going to make do with Grand Prix, and I'll be playing Stunt Car Racer on my Amiga Mini instead. Last but not least is, again, I love this game. I prefer it on the Amiga CD32. I think it's a cracking version on there. But this is just such a cool little isometric puzzle game. You're a courier, you land on top of a building, there's been some sort of mutant genetic mutation or something's happened like that, and you've got to try and rescue people, find passes, get through doors, solve the puzzles. Enough talk about it. Of course, it's Degeneration. This game is a game that you'll hear me talk about a lot. It's just my kind of game. It's like puzzle, but you can shoot. It's also about like timings, reaction. You also get little bits where you can, you talk to the people in the game. You can hack into some of the computers, but I've never really been very good at doing that bit, to be fair. But yeah, this is from was it Mindscape? Yeah, this is a Mindscape game. But Degeneration is definitely a game I would recommend to anyone who hasn't played it. Definitely give this a shot. It really is such a cool game. Again, nowhere near completing this one, but it is one that I'm going to complete one day. But as it says on the front, virtual reality meets action adventure. So yeah, this covers a lot of different genres, and is a cracking game. So if you see this, guys, and it's the right price, definitely pick it up. I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, that is enough from me on the Amiga today. I do have about another 12 games to show you. Quite a mixed bag, the last ones as well. A few more racing games in there, more than what I thought there was going to be. But yeah, just I suppose because even though I was crap at racing games, I don't know, I still used to play them anyway. However, that's all for me in this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know down below what your most nostalgic Amiga games were from back in the day. Of course, I like to cover a lot on the Amiga, the Commodore 64, the ZX Spectrum and the Amstrad. Anything to do with micro computers, really. If that's your thing, maybe consider subscribing to the channel for future content that you might miss if you don't. And it makes me really happy. Anyway, that's enough flabber from me. Until next time, goodbye.